All right. Hello and welcome to the Education SBHS Alumni College Panel. I'm Mr. Zimbardo and I'm a high school counselor at SBHS. These SBHS alumni have volunteered their time to give back to the SB community in hopes to help you get clarification and inspiration during your college search and selection process. The questions you will hear have been gathered over the years through various college panel discussions at the high school. If there is a question that you would like answered that was not addressed during the session, please see the link at the bottom of our SBHS Alumni College Panel discussion page. Let's get started by asking each panelist to introduce themselves.
All right, I guess I'll go first. Hi, everyone. My name is Jamie Weinstein. I am a graduating senior from Montclair State University. I was a declared English major, and let's see, what else? Yeah. Do I say when I graduated SBHS or?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Yeah, I'm class of 2016. And one or two things that I did on campus, I was extremely involved in Greek life throughout my 4 years at Montclair, and I was also a part of some on-campus jobs as well. So yeah.
Awesome.
All right, my name is Sam. I was an elementary education major at first at Ohio University. Then I went to Midlands Technical College in South Carolina to get my associate's degree. And now I'm at the University of South Carolina getting my bachelor's degree in elementary education. I graduated South Brunswick High School in 2016 as well. And yeah, so I've had an interesting journey, but I'm here and got one more year left, so I'm excited.
Awesome, thanks.
All right, I guess it's me. My name is Allie. I also graduated 2016. I am currently studying at Eastern Kentucky University, deaf and hard of hearing elementary education. My college experience started at Middlesex. I did 2 years there, and now I am a sophomore at EKU. What do I do at school? I am in the Kappa Delta Pi Teachers Honor Society. I am also in Sigma Alpha Iota, which is a music fraternity. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Hi, I'm Christian. I go to Montclair State. I'm a double major theater studies and theater education. I'm a upcoming senior, and I graduated from SB in 2017. Things I do. So I work through the theater department on productions, both main stage and stuff that we do for student-run productions. And also, I'm one of the first upcoming theater education majors at the school.
Awesome.
Hello, my name is Juliana, but everyone in South Brunswick knows me as Jules. I was also graduated 2016. I attend the College of New Jersey. I'm a graduating senior. I studied secondary education, 6 through 12, and specialized in English. I also have a minor in African American studies. And throughout my time here, I was part of Greek life. I'm in a sorority. I'm also part of Sigma Tau Delta, the English Honor Society, and I participated in 2 varsity teams. I did soccer my freshman year, and I did track and field my junior year.
Awesome, thanks for sharing, guys. So we have a nice variety of smaller schools, bigger schools. So you guys are gonna have definitely a different experience across the board. What was the main thing that you guys were looking for when deciding on a college, and how did you ultimately make your final decision?
So I know for me, I really knew from the start that I wanted to be in a 5-year master's program. So that really kind of like narrowed my search down to whichever schools in New Jersey that offered that. So the program I'm in is a 5-year master's program, and by the time I get out, I'll have a bachelor's in English, master's in teaching, and my certification to teach special ed. So that was something that was really that I really was looking for. And how I made my final decision was I just kind of, weighed all the options for all of the schools. And, you know, Montclair was where I felt the most comfortable, and it was the environment that I felt that I was going to thrive the most in. So that's really how I decided to, you know, spend my 4 years there in college.
Thanks for sharing.
Yep.
Alrighty, so when I first decided to go to college, I did not know where I wanted to go. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be in education in any way I possibly could. I did the kids program through high school, so I had that under my belt. And I only really did early elementary education. And so I basically threw darts at a dartboard and was like, where am I gonna go? So I picked Ohio University. It is in a small college town. I really liked it. The only thing for me is that I ended up wanting to change my major and just wanted to do elementary education. So that was a big part. I also did not have a roommate because I waited so late to do my decision day. So I was pretty much living on my own. So I recommend definitely having a roommate your freshman year. So those were kind of factors that I chose that I didn't really want to go back to Ohio University. So my parents moved down to South Carolina. I kind of had a decision about what I wanted to do, go back to New Jersey or come to South Carolina, get kind of a different scenery, different experience, stuff like that. I knew I wanted, once again, to stay in education, but I didn't know about my transfer credits. I didn't know fully what I wanted to do yet. So I went and I got my associate's degree at a 2-year college here called Midlands Technical College. And then I decided I still wanted to be in education. I still wanted to do this. So I transferred to the University of South Carolina. It is a big school, so there's a lot of going on. It kind of has like a Princeton-y feel. It's kind of in a city, but also kind of not. It's fun though, and I really, really like it. It is hot down here, so that is something I definitely had to get used to, because I am from New Jersey, and it is not this hot all the time. But yeah, so I just looked at the college. I looked that it is accredited, so I don't have to do really any credits outside of my degree to get my degree. I will come out the end of it certified, and all that stuff, so I can pretty much go into jobs here anywhere I want. There's a teacher shortage here as well, so I'm pretty good with job security here as well. I also work at the South Carolina State Museum, so that gave me kind of an edge too in really deciding that this is what I want to do. I was in informal education, so having that experience also under my belt kind of really solidified what I wanted and where I'm at.
Awesome. You had quite the experience.
Yes, I did.
I had a pretty crazy experience as well. So when I got out of high school, I knew that I was going to Middlesex for 2 years, and I actually started out as an art education major. I knew that I wanted to be in art. I took so many art classes my senior year, and I had a blast. And then I finally was just kind of like, you know, I don't really think this is for me anymore. And my school of choice actually changed for the longest I could remember. I wanted to go to West Virginia University because I have a lot of alumni in my family and it's just close to home, and I always wanted to go out of state. So I had to continue to look around as to what I really wanted to do. I knew ultimately I was going to end up in education, whether it was special ed or some sort of specialized field in education. I love working with kids. I've always loved it. And while living at home, going to Middlesex, I worked at Constable's aftercare program, and that really solidified that I wanted to be in education. And then I found out that I love sign language. I've always loved it. I've always thought it was really cool. And there's a job where you can teach deaf kids. And I was like, well, okay, I want that. And I researched up a bit. My brother actually went to school in Kentucky as well, met a girl, and her sisters go to the university I currently go to, and told me about their program. They're pretty much second in the nation for deaf culture teachings. And I just crossed my fingers and I applied, and somehow I got in. I really don't know how they let me in with only one ASL class, and I was very, very thankful for that. And I do not regret my decision at all. It's the best decision I could possibly make. I definitely do recommend expanding your horizons, jumping in both feet with something that you've never tried. I've lived in New Jersey my whole life, and I can honestly say moving to Kentucky was a great idea. It's definitely a medium-sized school. It's not out in the middle of nowhere, but to them, it's a big town. It's 10 minutes end to end, which is huge for them. And I just love the atmosphere, and I love being able to be bilingual and communicate through other ways of communication rather than just speaking. I think it's just a great idea.
Yeah, that's an awesome program because a lot of schools are trying to get sign language incorporated into the world language department. So you could definitely have a future doing that.
If I had taken ASL in high school, there's no way I would have started out as an art major. I'd have been like, this is what I'm doing.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
So my process was all over the place. So I originally was going for performance. So I had to audition at a ton of schools across New Jersey, New York, all over the place pretty much. And the audition process is long and difficult and aggravating. So that's what I originally went for. So, and then it took so long for everything to get pushed through, whether that was pre-screens, in-house auditions, the whole gambit. It was a very long process. But I eventually settled on Montclair just because I loved their theater department, and it had like the most versatility, and it's like 30 minutes from the city, which is the perfect place. And I knew I didn't want to live in the city and go to school in the city immediately, because I had friends who go to school in the city and they have to like travel across the entire thing like every single morning for dance class at 7:30 in the morning, and that wasn't going to do it. So I got there, and I've now kind of expand past just performance. So I'm a director, a light designer, a still performer, an educator now. And so it gave me a lot of opportunities to experiment. And then now I'm the new guinea pig for this new theater ed major, which is really cool, but also frustrating. And we're learning through this to see how we can make it better for anyone in the future. And there are so many new people coming into this program. We have like a ton of incoming freshmen this year that is just incredible. So it's showing that people really want this, and we're one of the only schools in Jersey that has this. I know Kane has one that's been around for a while, and I think I'm forgetting the other school at the moment, but like we're one of the only schools now that has a specific theater ed major. So I think it's a great opportunity. You get a diverse range of skills from performance design, just everything. And so as someone who went in strictly for performance but still loved other things, it was like the perfect place for me to be for what I wanted to go for.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you get to be a part of something new, which is fantastic. Thanks for sharing.
Okay, so like I think mostly everyone here, I was also in the Kids program since my freshman year. So I immediately fell in love with being around kids and teaching. And junior year and senior year, after interacting with my high school English teachers, I knew immediately that that was the subject that I wanted to go into. So it just made the most sense to me to look at the College of New Jersey. It's a great school for teachers. It's the first normal school in the state of New Jersey. So it just made sense for me to look there. It's also 15-20 minutes away from Quaker Bridge Mall, so it's really close. I can, I did live on campus my first 2 years. I did live off campus my last 2 years. I lived in a house with 7 girls. But that allowed me to, stay on campus when I wanted to. It allowed me to go home if I needed to or if I wanted to, so that was great. I was also recruited here, so that helped to give me another opportunity to be involved on campus. And definitely the biggest thing I looked for was the campus climate. And what I mean by that is, like all these opportunities they give you. If you have Greek life, they have academic societies, if they have the clubs that you're looking for, they'll definitely have all that information if you look on the school's website, I'm sure. But also definitely class size. I really like personal learning instruction. So I really haven't, I think I've had one class over 30 kids and it was a science lecture and that was about it. But everything else, I really like the contact with the professors. They can give you one-on-one instruction. They have a lot more time to give you when you need help. So that definitely helped influence my decision as well.
Yeah, that's great. That's some great feedback, because that having that self-awareness of knowing that a smaller class is going to help you in the long run definitely can help you succeed, trying to get your degree. So on to the next question. Some of you may have already answered this in the last portion, but if you haven't, feel free. How did you decide you wanted to study education, and how did you choose your concentration?
So admittedly, from probably like when I was a sophomore or junior in high school, I like wanted to be a pastry chef. And then I realized very quickly that being a pastry chef would not grant me everything that I would want from life, that I would kind of be confined to working all the time and crazy hours. So I kind of did, those like personality tests that like kind of match you with like what like occupations you would be good into based on like your personality. So I did a lot of soul searching for those, and education just like kept coming up on every single one of them. And then I think it took me like a while to sit down with, my parents and stuff and kind of talk about it. And so I was like, you know what, like, I'm just going to try teaching. Like, I love working with kids. I've worked with kids for a very long time. And, we're the people who are going to, change the next generations to come. And that was really validating for me. And, going into education, you're not doing it for the money. You're doing it because you really want to help kids and you want to change the world. And you want to be there for them because, you're there for them 9-10 months out of the year. And so that was really impactful for me. And so that's one of the reasons why I decided to go into education, is because I wanted to, have that impact on the future generations to come. And how I chose my concentration, very similar to Jules. I had an incredible experience throughout high school in the English department. I think SBHS, the English department, has it together. They have great teachers. Specifically, shout out to Miss Lear. She's really the reason why I decided to go for English, is because I had her junior year. She was amazing. She did so many great things for me. And then I also had her for yearbook my senior year. And so I kind of got into like the more journalism side of English there. And that's when I really decided that, writing, reading, that was kind of the path for me.
Awesome. Some great insight there. Thank you.
All right. So I have pretty much, once again, been around kids all my life. And I never really thought about myself doing anything else. And when I did, it just kind of wasn't right for me. When I was in high school, I once again went through the kids program with Jules. Jules was in a lot of my classes. And it was just awesome for me, going through the different levels, being able to go back to my elementary school my senior year. And I had the opportunity to be in different grades because both of my teachers had student teachers. So I was in kindergarten and I was in 4th grade. So once again, I went in early ed and then I came out elementary ed because of that experience, actually going through the kids program my senior year and being in kindergarten. I was like, okay, like this is what I'm used to. And then I was in 4th grade and I absolutely loved it. I focus a lot on STEAM and STEM. And that's mostly because of my job at the South Carolina State Museum. I teach about 35 to 40-minute programs to schools all across the state that come to the museum. And they're all STEM related. They're all South Carolina standards based. And it's all grade levels from kindergarten to special needs to high school. So I kind of get that experience also in informal ed. But yeah, I've never really thought of myself doing anything else. And when I do, it just didn't seem right. I think 7th and 8th grade was a really big impact for me. I was in Delta and I had Miss Rimmer, and she was wonderful. And I think in New Jersey and in South Brunswick, we have a lot of very great teachers. And I'm very thankful for what I have, because I come down here and I am in my methods courses and I'm doing different things and I see the difference. And I think I just had a wonderful experience growing up and being in the education system, and I want to give that back.
Awesome. Awesome stuff. Thank you.
Well, how I chose my concentration is just is a very long story that we definitely don't have time for. But I ultimately just really wanted to do something more than just the average education. I've always loved the special ed side. I've also had an IEP throughout high school and middle school, so I did get that one-on-one experience, and I love special ed and ultimately want to go back for it as a master's. But I also really, really love the sign language aspect. I had an opportunity, what was it, last fall, to sit in on a deaf classroom, and I absolutely loved it. That was kind of my make or break. I told myself if I didn't like this, then I would have to figure something out, and I absolutely loved it. It's great to see how their culture is, and it's totally different from hearing culture, and you don't really think of that. And I love to think outside of my own little circle, and I think ultimately a lot of people should do that as well. I think a lot of people try to stick to what's easy and to what they know, and jumping into something that I had never grown up with. Nobody I know is deaf. I only met my first deaf person when I was maybe 19, 20. I only know one person that fluently speaks sign language, and she's in my family. And I just really, I just loved it. I don't know. I can't say anything else other than I love it.
Oh, it's great. It's a great message to step outside your comfort zone. Thank you.
So I didn't really know I wanted to be an education major till I kind of got into school, and we actually didn't get this major until my sophomore year. So I've kind of condensed a usual 4-year program, kind of pushing it to like 2.5 years, which is kind of stressful and on the brink of death, but we're here. But I did high tops my senior year, and that kind of like stirred a little bit of that educator inside of me. And I had also worked with kids through theater, through like camps or kid youth theater programs throughout high school. So that was kind of where I like lived in my vein of like theatrical knowledge. So I was like, like if I have to, or if I want to teach at some point in the future, it's not a bad idea. And I went to Montclair because there was the proposal that we were going to get a theater ed major eventually. We didn't know when, so I hoped at some point before I graduated, and it just so happened that it was in the middle of my sophomore year, and I was like, I could graduate by the middle of my junior year and get out of here, so why not like add something on and just supplement? Because I was like, theater is a, I guess, subject and just field where you have to be multi-talented. You can't just be a good performer. You need to be able to do everything, and just being an educator kind of just tacked on to that as like not only just a resume builder, but also like it's what I've known, and it was just a good thing to supplement my knowledge and to also like give back with everything that I've been taught from all different angles, I guess.
Yeah, and that seems to be a common theme where you guys are getting experience and then being able to give that experience back to students hopefully in the near future. Thanks for sharing.
So starting from the Kids program, I always loved the creativity of teaching. We always had some crafts to do, and the kids really enjoyed it. So that like kind of sparked my interest. And then I chose my discipline because like the way I see teaching is like Sam said, like we have the ability, to inspire the next generation, to change the next generation. Teaching, helps us. It's an outlet for we want what we want to see in the world, so it allows us to act in that way. So reading books like sorry, I'm like all over but books to Kill a Mockingbird, right? Like amazing book. But that's like what I wanted to see. Like teaching helps us, especially English, like it helps us, teach empathy. It helps us teach tolerance and acceptance, and like that's what I wanted to see in the world. So that's what I chose. And I've just always had a knack for writing, I guess. I've just been good at it. I like English. I'm not good at math, so I definitely was not going to do that. But yeah, I love nitpicking essays, so that really helped appease me.
perfect for an English major then.
Exactly. Nitpicking, my favorite.
All right, guys. What ultimately made you pick the school that you chose? What were the few things that really stood out to you about choosing that school?
So I know it sounds cheesy, but for like my experience, I don't know, like walking on Montclair's campus and like taking a tour there, it just kind of gave me this like warm and fuzzy feeling. It's just like, you know, and that was one of my on-campus jobs. I was an undergraduate admissions ambassador my freshman year. And so it's all about like how you sell the school, because you're pretty much like doing sales a little bit. So, I had a great experience on tour. And once I kind of found out like about all the other clubs and organizations and like the activities that go on campus, that was one of the things that really sold me. And also the campus location. I love the city, and Montclair is only like, I don't know, maybe like a 25-minute train ride, like right into the city. And, it's just a great campus vibe, and like the views are beautiful since we're like right on a mountain. And yeah, it was just really all about like the campus climate. And, I felt like it was really somewhere that I can thrive in. We have like so many clubs and organizations. It's a very inclusive campus, which is also something that I love. People aren't afraid to voice their opinions and protest and all of those things. So, Montclair is definitely a very liberal college. And, I got that great experience from there. So that's one of the reasons why, or that's several of the reasons why I decided to go there.
Yeah, and pointing out the importance of the college tour. I know a lot of the juniors now, and maybe even some of the seniors still, are having that stress of not being able to go on tour right now. So, virtual tours or checking out colleges' social media accounts, Instagrams, things like that can definitely help students now with the current climate. But that's great experience you had. Thanks for sharing.
And start early for you
Yes.
kids. Start your college search early. Do not save it for the last minute, because you need to ultimately find out where you're going to, thrive, which environment you're going to thrive in the most.
And as a school counselor, I can't stress that enough. Thanks for sharing it.
Yep.
I also cannot stress that enough, because once again, I waited until decision day, and not that I didn't pick the college for me. I think I was just really overwhelmed with the college process. And so once again, I threw darts at a dartboard and was just like, where am I going to go? I applied to LSU. I applied to Oregon. I literally applied everywhere. I applied to New Hampshire. So I literally had absolutely no direction besides what I wanted my major to be. And I ended up changing that anyway. And I think that's really important also to kind of acknowledge as well, that the 4-year plan isn't for everybody. I'm on a 5-year plan. And it's okay to make mistakes about where you want to go to college. It's okay to not fit into that kind of mold. So for me, when I was looking at schools, the first time around when I went to Ohio, I did look where I had family. I had family in Pittsburgh. So that kind of also helped me a little bit. My sister and I had a bunch of aunts and uncles out there. But once again, it was in a small college town, and that just wasn't for me. Once again, it kind of like Allie, was like 10 minutes across, 10 minutes each way. And I just kind of felt a little bit stuck. And then my parents moved down to South Carolina, and it was kind of like, okay, do you want to go back to New Jersey? Do you want to come here? And I was still sort of in that limbo, kind of just like, I don't really know yet. So I came down here. I lived with my parents for a year, got my associates. And I think that's also a very good thing as well. Allie went through that process as well. Getting your associates, getting that 2-year degree in case, something doesn't work out with your 4-year plan, something doesn't work out with your 4-year degree. I had my associates to fall back on, and that also helped me with my job as well, getting pay raise, things like that. So I got my associate's degree, and then it was time to, okay, I need to think about what I want to do. Do I want my 4-year degree? Do I just want to stay at my job? What do I want to do? And I realized, okay, elementary ed is for me. Even though I did get an associate's in arts, it had a concentration in education. So I knew that this is what I wanted to do. I just didn't find my gears yet. And talking to different advisors also helped. I talked to advisors from Ohio. I talked to advisors from Midlands, from USC. Talk to your advisors, talk to your school counselor. I think I was struggling and just saying, okay, like everybody goes away to college. That's just what you do. But it wasn't for me, and that's okay. So I think just utilize your resources, really do your research. University of South Carolina ended up being right for me. Even though I don't really like the heat, it's fine. But just the city vibe, getting accredited, doing the things that I want to do, it just ended up working for me. And sometimes you have to go through that trial and error process to find out what you really want to do.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a really important message. There's a lot of trial and error involved with college, whether it's finding the right college, even though you've already accepted somewhere, and making that switch like you did, or if it's changing your major on the fly. There's a lot of trial and error that goes into it. Thanks for sharing your experience.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with almost everything that Sam said. I cannot stress this enough. It is okay to go to a community college first. I had so much growing up to do out of high school that I had no idea that I needed to do. I needed to have a better schedule. I needed to have better structure skills. I just thought I learned all of that in high school, and sometimes you just don't, and it's okay. It's a scary, scary process from going to a community college to a 4-year, you're not at home degree. It's scary. It really is. And I took those 2 years to figure out who I was and where I wanted to go. And I did so much soul searching. And it's also very scary to change your major. I went in as an art education and I dropped it, and I freaked out because I no longer had the school of my dreams as an option. West Virginia doesn't even offer an ASL course. So I was just like, well, gotta look somewhere else now. I ultimately landed in Kentucky because I had family out there. My soon-to-be sister-in-law's family lives 25 minutes from the school. I would go there on weekends. If I needed a home-cooked meal, if I just needed a mom hug, I could just go to her. And it's very important in times that you just need family. I actually broke my leg last spring, and it was very, very scary to do that. But knowing that I had a family right there with me, I had my brother out there. He took me to my first doctor's appointment. He took me to get my cast on. And I honestly don't think I would have been able to do that if I was all completely on my own. So that's also very important. It's very okay to lean on people. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to not know, because even though it may look like your friends know what they're doing, most of the time they don't. It's very common to not know what your next move is, and it's okay. Don't stress. Talk to people. Research is definitely important. I only had 4 options for my degree because it is so specific and so not rare, but not very common for universities to have it. TCNJ was actually an option for me. Missouri State, Towson, and Eastern Kentucky University. I liked TCNJ's program, but it wasn't the best that it could be. It was just kind of like, oh, you can learn some sign language, but we're not going to give you the full degree, which is okay. Not every university knows it. Towson's program was brand new, and I didn't really know much about it. Missouri State was really, really far as I really wanted to go, but I didn't know anybody. And Kentucky was right where I knew people. It is okay to do online tours. That is the only kind of tour that I did before I even applied. I took the online tour at least 20 times. I would come home from class in Middlesex and I would take it just to see if there's anything new that I'm missing. And then I applied, and then I got in, and then I took an official tour. That's when I took an official tour. So it's okay to not get the experience of going on campus and be like, this is where I want to be. As important as that is, I did have that experience once I was in, and once I had an official tour, that experience was still there. But it's okay to go out of order. It's okay to go to community college and then have to do the 4 years. That's what I ended up having to do because I took classes at Middlesex that ultimately didn't help me in too much in the long run. But it's okay to take your time with the process. I can't stress that enough. I was told from the beginning, you have to do this in 4 years. You have to do this. You have to do that. You don't have to do anything. Just take your time, research, and really, really know what you want to do. And if you don't, Middlesex is always right there. Mercer is always right there. I don't know any other surrounding community colleges, but it's okay to just wait and relax on your ideas. It's definitely okay. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, I think that's a really important message, letting students know that there's not one clear cookie cut way to do things. If you need to take 2 years somewhere else or you need to transfer, that's okay. It doesn't need to be, viewed as a negative thing. Not everybody knows exactly what they want to do, and that's a great message.
So how did I know? I mean, I met with one of the professors. This is when I was going to be a BFA musical theater major and was doing all that stuff. And like I had a whole 2 hour long conversation with him in person, and it was just amazing. It just made me want to be there in that environment. And I kind of knew from the start, and even after I got acceptances back, not just for the school, because I had to also get audition acceptances. I have thousands of people that audition every single year. I kind of knew even before I got any acceptances from any other schools that no matter what, whether I got into the BFA program or not, I wanted to go to Montclair. Just the environment, I knew I would be getting so many opportunities there, and even whether I was a performance major or a BA theater studies and eventually becoming an education major. So I kind of just knew from the beginning that this is where I wanted to be, and it's worked out really. I don't know. That's kind of it.
No, that interview process and sitting down with somebody can be one of the most crucial things for making a decision. I had a similar experience for my graduate school application, and that really let me know that I was in good hands. So that's some great advice.
So I immediately fell in love with TCNJ's campus. I'm still here. It's a couple streets away. I refuse to leave. But I always loved being here. I had been here a lot because I did take an official tour. I was here for a couple tours with the coaches that were recruiting me, and training camps when you have to go out and they see you and everything. They scout you. So I had been here quite a lot, and it's not that far anyway, so I could have come anytime I wanted to. But yeah, that's what really, just being here and feeling at home. Also, throughout the past 4 experiences, we've had so much happen on campus, and it really brought us together. So I really appreciate having that close community. But adding on to what Allie says, just don't ever let someone influence you, in thinking that you're doing the right thing, doing the wrong thing. I was a special case. This was the only school I applied to. I just loved being here, and I only did that because that was early decision. So keep looking around, okay? That does not mean you stop. That means you keep going, okay? And but yeah, this is ultimately this is your life. This is what you want to do for the rest of your life. So if you were not completely happy with what you were doing, maybe start looking around. Just less than 2 months ago, I was actually in the master's program here. I was at graduate school at CCNJ, and I decided to leave. And, that was a scary thing to have. That was a scary conversation to have with friends and families, because I thought I had my whole 4 years ago worked out. I thought I had everything planned out, and it was the scariest thing that I've had to go to, is making this big decision in my life. And I'm applying to graduate school somewhere else for another degree, but it's crazy. It never stops being crazy, but ultimately it's your decision. This is what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. So you want to make sure that you're doing something that you love and that you enjoy and that you're happy with.
Yeah, some great insight. Thanks for sharing. All right, so we have about 5 or 6 more questions left. We have about a half hour or 25 minutes to go. Just want to give you guys a heads up of where we're at. What's been the most exciting opportunity you've taken advantage of so far, if there's one thing that stood out to you?
So at Montclair in the 5-year master's program, I'm going to get my certification in special education once I graduate next year with my master's. And so one of the most exciting opportunities that we had, Montclair actually set up this this program. It's called the IAC project, where they have students from Bloomfield High School, which is a surrounding high school. They have students in special education come to Montclair to take general education courses. And so it's a class for teachers who are going into special education. And we actually get to, hang out with them and like help them with their homework, any assignments that they're taking or that they have. And so that was really fun. That was a semester-long class, and you just get to see how much they grow throughout the entire semester. And we did like other fun things, like went to the gym and stuff, and we always got Dunkin' with them on Fridays. And that was such an exciting opportunity because it kind of ignited my love for special education. And I went to Crossroads South Middle School, and I was in Omega, and Omega and Chi were the two units who got to spend some time with the special education kids. And so I did that several times throughout, my time in Omega, and that, was my original love for special education. And then having this opportunity through the IAC project at Montclair that kind of reignited my love for special education. And, it was such a great experience, because you would be walking around with them on campus, and, I'd get all of these like people giving me like side eyes, and, they're like, how do you like deal with like kids in special education? It's just like, you're not dealing with them, like they're people just like you are. And, they deserve the education and the love that, every student gets. So that kind of reignited my passion for special education. And I can't wait to, take that back to, schools once I graduate, because, it's not about like, just, specifically special education, but it's about inclusivity and promoting that environment. That's very important. So I'm glad that Montclair gave me, that experience, so I can kind of take that with me.
Thanks for sharing. That's a great opportunity for you and those other students, and it's really given you a passion for what you do. That's great.
All right, so for me and opportunities, I have like two things here. First, if you decide to dorm, if you decide to do all these things, definitely take advantage of having roommates, but also make sure that they're kind of on the same level as you with different things like sleeping schedules. I know for me, I roomed with girls who were not in the education program, and I was up early and they were up late, so that didn't work out really well. So definitely talk about those things, be open and be honest about the things that you will need in that opportunity, and also just in education as well. Take the opportunity to go as many schools as possible, talk to as many people as possible. I know in my methods courses, sometimes you have the option of staying on campus or going to a school. Go to the school, go and talk to the teachers, take advantage of your professors. All of those things really, really helped me, because I'm in South Carolina, yes, but I've also been in different schools in South Carolina, so I have different references, different places. Also look at different things in education. I'm also in informal education at work, because I'm not in a formal classroom. I only teach kids for 35 to 45 minutes, 3 days a week. So take advantage in different sects of education as well, and just be open and see different things that will be an advantage to you.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, to get out there, get in the field, and really get that experience instead of staying on campus. That can really open your eyes to what you actually want to do, and what type of opportunities are out there for you. Thanks for sharing.
Something that I am very grateful for, since I go to a school that houses the program that I'm in, its surrounding areas have a lot of deaf events that I go to, and just a lot of opportunities for, mingling with people who actually grew up learning sign language. I am about, I think, an hour from Kentucky School for the Deaf. I volunteer at their Halloween bash. It's actually their monster bash every year so far. and I get to talk to the kids, which ultimately is where I want to be at. I want to be talking with the kids and everything. And I've also been to the Cincinnati Zoo's Deaf Day, and I love all the opportunities that my program has for us to go and explore more deaf culture. I get emails constantly saying, hey, volunteer for this, hey, volunteer for that. All of my ASL professors have been deaf as well, and if I ever have any questions, they are more than willing to answer those questions as well, and they're very understanding that we are still learning the language, of course. And yeah, I think going and visiting their culture and throwing yourself in is good as well. And I think that there are definitely many, many opportunities around where I'm at that give you that look into their world. So I love that.
Yeah, stepping out of your comfort zone, another great message you've had the whole time. Awesome, thank you.
It's definitely very scary because you're throwing yourself in a situation where nobody speaks the language that you do. You have to literally learn a whole new language. That's like going to a foreign country. Let's say you're going to France and you don't know a lick of French. It's the exact same thing. It's very scary, but it's fun.
One of the most exciting experiences I have had is last semester. I was the only, and have been the only, non-MT student to get into one of the main stage productions. And every spring we do a workshop musical where we get a writer who has like worked on their own piece, like comes in, we workshop it, like, and then kind of just have people come and see it as a way of getting that piece out there and worked on with, and like getting the material worked with. And we did Reefer Madness, which is an old 30s movie which got rebooted to a movie musical in the early 2000s, kind of a cult classic. And it was an awesome experience to try to rework that script because one of the original writers came and was with us our entire rehearsal process. It's aimed to go back to Broadway and, well, was supposed to come back in 2020, but probably that's going to get postponed to 2021 or 2022 at this point. So we were working on this, like, we were the first ones to touch this new material. This is something that got to work on and edit and put ourselves into to make this new product that will eventually show, and we'll be able to like look at that and be like, we kind of made that ourselves and put it together. And it was just a really surreal kind of experience. And we had Broadway people, we had people from the original movie come and see the show and talk back with us. We had like Hollywood people come and see it because they're like the original writers are friends with all these people. So it was just a really amazing experience in that respect, and just being able to branch out, still do something I love, and still like learn a lot of information and just a lot of different things, and be in that kind of new situation in it was just a really like awesome experience for me.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're getting a lot of hands-on experience over there too, which is awesome.
My advice is to, if you can, get involved in whatever you can on campus. I was involved, like I said, I'm in a sorority, but there's also a bunch of clubs on campus. There's free events on campus. And not only like are these great experiences for you to have, like they're a lot of fun, but you find people that have similar interests as you. You find your home, like you find your group of people, and they stay with you forever. Honestly, you make the best friendships in college, but also like you get a lot of opportunities to give back and gain professional experience. Like we do a lot of community service within sororities. I know some people have an idea about Greek life, and I promise you it's completely different from what you think it is. I never, ever, ever, and these people can vouch, never thought I would be in a sorority, ever. And that's what I decided to do. And, you get positions within organizations, like executive board, but like I said, you can do charity things. NJEA club, the students that go here, they go to the conference that the teachers go to in the fall, the same exact one. I know Sigma Tau Delta, the honor society, I'm in. This year they were supposed to go to Las Vegas to have a writing convention, right? If you're not involved in these things, you don't get those opportunities to, one, have fun, but, to build your professional experience.
Yeah, and there's a lot of networking opportunities too, which you just mentioned, which, you get your name out there, you meet some people, they know some people, and the next thing you know, you have a job, which is awesome. So definitely take advantage of those. Next question I'm going to go to is, what extracurricular activities or programs have you been involved with? I know Jules just answered some of that, but how did those impact your college experience? Were they more positive, more negative? Just let the students know how important they are.
So like Jules, I'm also in a sorority. I also took advantage of 2 job opportunities on campus. I was with undergraduate admissions, and I also worked for Res Life for a year. And I definitely agree. I think that every student should take advantage of as many opportunities as possible, because from that you gain so many transferable skills that you can take with you for the rest of your life. Like specifically in my sorority, I was new member educator, and I was also the president for the 2019 year. And that gave me so many amazing skills and so much leadership experience. I've been to like 3 conferences for my sorority, and that's on like an international level. So I met so many people from so many different parts of the country. And like you said, networking is a huge thing. And definitely, it's important to keep those references, because you never know, if you're applying for jobs and, you left your job on like a great note, like no bad feelings, like you could always put them down as a reference, and, always give 100% to what you do, because, if your employer sees that you have, great work ethic, then they're always going to vouch for you, and they're always going to say great things about you. So I've gotten a lot of opportunities because I, made sure I presented myself, and I worked really hard. So that's definitely a great piece of advice that I would give to you guys. And it's impacted my college experience. Like walking on Montclair's campus, like when I was a freshman, I am not the same person that I was. It's 4 years. It seems like a long time, but it goes by like that. And then, now that everything with like the current state of, the world right now, and, being a senior, it's given me a lot of time to like reflect on who I was when I was a freshman. And I've seen how far I've come, and I can only thank like Montclair and all of the, extra things that I've done on campus and off campus, like for that. We did so much community service, all of our philanthropic events. We raised so much money for some great causes. And, that's just specific to Greek life, but there's a lot of other clubs and organizations that, will spark your interest. And, you just kind of got to find your niche and find where you're going to thrive the most. And that's the biggest piece of advice I can give.
Yeah, saying yes to those opportunities is huge. And you guys across the board so far have said yes to a lot of interesting opportunities and taken advantage of a lot of opportunities, which is awesome.
Yeah, pretty much same for me. Definitely keep your references. Like I can't stress that enough. They will be the biggest help. I know my boss, I got laid off due to COVID. So she recommended me for writing the new South Carolina state standards and like that program and a bunch of other things that will not only help me like in my job, but also just like growing as a person and really getting to know the standards and what I will be doing in my future anyway with the standards, what I need to teach, things like that. Also, like Joel said, try everything. I know that was a really big struggle for me. Like I did not want to like try anything and put myself out there. And my job was really the first time that I really did that. And so take like tutoring jobs, like literally anything that might be of interest in education. Like take the tutoring jobs, take the informal ed jobs, try different things in education. Also, I did the first generation clubs on campus as well, because I am a first generation student, and that also helped as well with opportunities.
Great stuff. Thanks for sharing.
I think the coolest thing that I have involved myself in at my university was last summer I got to be a part of our Big E Welcome program. So what that is that I go in about a week early before school starts and I help welcome in the new freshmen. We take them around tours, we play games with them, we just get them used to college life, because it's very different from high school life, whereas you would go to your classes, you see the same people every single day, and everybody has the same set schedule. But in college, you're constantly going from different place to different place at different times of the day throughout the week, and you're not always going to see the same people, and it's kind of an adjustment. You have to go from seeing your best friend every single day to that in that one class to you see your best friend like every other day or every 2 days. And that was definitely a very fun experience. I'm also in a, not quite in yet, I had to take the whole fraternity test during this whole pandemic thing. I'm also in a music fraternity. That has nothing to do with my major, but I was in the marching band in high school. I was in choir. I did all of that and loved it and missed it. And I come from a very music family, and I missed the atmosphere of music. I'm also in my university's choir, which I absolutely love. It's a different experience from being in Ginny's class to my professor, Dr. Waters. It's definitely night and day difference, choir related. I definitely use the tools that Ginny gave me in that class as well. And it's a lot more different because of the music that we do is more mature, and it's definitely a different atmosphere because, you know, you're around people who that's their life, but this is just a section of my life. So I think definitely involving yourself in things that you did in high school is also fun. You don't necessarily have to do that. That's just something that I really enjoyed in high school and really missed out of that. But definitely go for things that you wouldn't normally do. As Sam said, it's not always black and white. It's not always, oh, you have to do this because you're in education. Oh, you should go do that. But it's also nice to do those things as well. Definitely expand your horizons.
Yeah, and I think the important message from you is that there's something for everybody too. I mean, coming from all of you guys, everybody seems to have found something that not only interests them, but they've stepped out of their comfort zone, and I think you guys are really sharing a positive message, which is awesome. So thank you.
I've done a lot of extracurriculars through the school. One of the big ones I've done is I'm a technical advisor for FAST, which is our student-run theater department or theater program, which is funded through the department, and it's where we have students direct, design, and perform like written new work, stage stuff, already like created material, and kind of just get their hand to be able to try on different theatrical hats, which I think it's very important. And the program was kind of in a dying state when we got here, and the three of us who have taken the program over have kind of like uplifted it to this entity where like we get like 100 students a semester to audition. We have tons of directors propose for us, and I'm very much into the idea of creating your own opportunities, because I think at the end of the day you're your own best advocate, and if you don't see an opportunity that is available for you, make it yourself and figure out a way to get it. And that's one of the things that I've tried to do while there. I hopped on this position. I pretty much get paid to create theater in college, which is a dream for any art student, period. So, which is incredible. So I've gotten so much experience. I've directed 2 fully staged plays. I'm directing another one coming up next semester. I've designed almost 10 shows, light design wise. I have an entire portfolio where I've submitted it to professional theaters and gotten offers for summer work and work after college. So I've just tried to take in as much as possibly I can over the 4 years I've been here, and just try to milk it for all it's worth, really. And make your own opportunities. If it's not there when you get there, make sure it's there by the time you leave, because even though it might not affect you, or you might have it for a year, you don't know the students that you're affecting who are coming up that will have that program and will have it flourish and be able to like launch their entire careers after college.
Yeah, and something really important that you mentioned was the portfolio and the resume builder. All those opportunities, or look at the opportunities that those have, sparked for you moving forward. So taking advantage of those types of things really, really will help you out in the long run.
So I'm just going to refrain a little bit because you always want to try something new. You always want to take risks. We said this so many times. Like I've literally listed almost everything I've done these past 4 years, and it's so much. And that's a great thing, but make sure it never comes at the cost of your mental or physical health, because when you are about to graduate and you have a full student teaching semester and are involved in a sorority where you hold a position and you're on a field and you're on a sports team at the same time, it's a lot. Okay, and there's always going to be chances for you to get involved and give back, but you really want to make sure that you step back, because you do not want to burn yourself out. I'm a doer. I will do anything till I run myself into the ground, but I've become a lot more conscious of making sure I don't do that. But like I said, like, do anything you can get involved in. I can't really pinpoint anything, but the culmination of all the experiences that I've had through doing those things, through doing charitable events, through doing like the 5Ks and the runs that we do on campus, and just making memories with my friends, like, that's what makes it all worth it. Like, that's what I'm going to carry with me.
Yeah, perfect. And Jules just gave us a perfect segue. This is going to be our last question for the day. What advice would you give students that are ready to enter the college world, and what advice do you wish that you had entering the college world?
Oh man, this is a loaded question. I don't know. I guess, like, just piggybacking off of Jules, like, again, you always got to put yourself first and your best interests first. That's like something that I learned very late in the game. And there's nothing more important than your own mental, physical, and emotional well-being. There's going to be a lot of trials and tribulations, like, throughout college, and it's going to test you, and it's going to make you think in different ways than you've ever had to think before. And it's also, validating, because you're going to find this sense of independence that you may not have gotten in high school. And, for those people who are, either entering college or, starting your college search early, all I could say is just enjoy every moment of it, because, you don't really think about it. You're like, oh, next 4 years is a very long time, but like, it goes by so quickly. And really just make sure that you attend a institution that you feel like is going to set you up for the rest of your life, and it's going to give you the skills that you need to succeed, and that you have a institution that you're always going to be able to fall back on, and you're going to look back at those memories when you're older, and you're going to think, like, thank you for so-and-so for teaching me all of these things. And some advice that I wish I got before I went to college, there's a lot, and I can't really think of one right now, but maybe I'll think of it by the end of this.
Awesome. We'll come back to you. Thanks for sharing.
I know for me, definitely the advice that I would have gotten was don't rush, do your research, and take your time. I know for me as a person, I'm very go. And for me to take my time and really, because the 4-year plan was like always in the cards for me, and it didn't turn out that way. And it's okay. And it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to take your time and figure out what you want. It doesn't have to be so go. I think coming down to the South also helped me a little bit with that. Things are a little bit slower paced here, for sure. But it's really important, like everybody else said, put yourself first, put your needs first, put what you want to do first. And sometimes that's hard. And that was hard for me to do, because once again, I was always just like, okay, think about this. Don't really take the time for yourself. And I think it's really important that you do that. And that's the advice that I wish I would have gotten.
Yeah, self-care in college, extremely important. Thanks for sharing.
I agree with what Sam said. Take your time. The 4-year plan is a joke. It's very hard, and prize anybody who does it in 4 years. It's not always the easiest. There are so many classes that you don't realize that you have to take. It's okay to make a mistake. You're going to cry about it. You're going to be really mad about it. There's going to be those 2 a.m. studies. You're like, why didn't I start studying earlier? Or why didn't I do this earlier? It's okay to be mad at yourself. You're not a horrible student. You're not doing it wrong. I promise you, everybody procrastinates on that one project that is due tomorrow that you have to do like 100 pages on. I promise you, there are multiple people in your class that are up at the same time. It's okay to take your time. It's okay to say, you know what, I should have done this better, but also learn from that. Do that project earlier. Do better on that next test. Make sure that you have that one thing that you didn't do well down. It's okay to turn down a hangout in order to study more. It's not always important to keep up your social life in college as much as college is a social experience. You're also there to get a degree. Don't forget that. Don't forget that your degree will always come first. It is very important to surround yourself with roommates that are supportive. It's always important to have those study hangouts. The advice that I would have very much so benefited from is it's okay to go to community college. I was so mad when I found out that I had to go to community college first. It was ultimately my parents' decision for me, but looking back on it, it has changed me so much, and it has helped me grow into the person that I have become today. And if I didn't have those experiences before I went to a 4-year school, I probably would not have been able to succeed as well as I have so far. I would have definitely missed out on a lot and missed a lot of what I should have learned. So just take your time. There's no right or wrong way to do college.
Yeah, knowing your limitations and knowing what works for you, the whole trial and error thing, you nailed it. There's definitely no right answer for how to do things, and it's a different experience for everyone and a different road for everyone. Awesome stuff.
I think the advice I would give is utilize your education to the fullest, because we have to take so many credits before we graduate. So why not learn a couple things instead of just taking some like random classes that don't matter in the end? Like, look at things you're interested. Use the gen eds that are abundant and use them to learn something about. Use it to learn about something that you're interested in. Like, utilize your education to the fullest, whether that's both academically in the classes and just socially, like we've kind of been saying, like the big focus on extracurriculars, finding things that you're interested in and using that as an escape from because we can all get burnout from doing work till 2 a.m. So find something that you enjoy to do to kind of balance that out. And like I said before, make your own opportunities. Like, the moment you learn that, the moment the entire thing opens up to you, and you can just do whatever you want and figure out what you want to do. I know also, like you've been saying, like, I'm a workaholic. Like, I've done like 18 credits of main stage production, directed and designed like 5 shows in a semester, and I thought I was going to lose it. So like, know your limits, know like, hey, you got to come first no matter what. And like, it's great to do so many things and learn as much as you can, but at the end of the day, like, you have to make sure that you're not going insane and that you need to not sacrifice your mental health instead of just going like crazy against the wall and just trying to do everything. And I guess advice that I wish I had, don't be so jaded, because I was like, high school sucks. I'm just gonna like, it's gonna be the same thing. And I was like, I'm just gonna go to college and just get my education, not care about anyone, and just like do my work and just go into a job field and just like do it. And I was like, that was stupid. That ended like 2 months into college. And really just like make friends, like enjoy the social aspects of it, like find people in your major, find people outside your major too, so you're not just listening to the same thing that you hear in classes. Like, have a group of friends, like figure that out, like find who you are, explore who you are. And college, like high school should be for that, but we know we're kind of limited to what we can do, and college is that time to really experiment with knowledge base, find people, find yourself. And that's really what I wish I went in with, knowing is just, it's going to be a lot better than high school. So just go in with an open mind and just do whatever you can. Yeah,
one of the first things you said, Christian, I thought was really important, getting your money's worth. you're paying a whole lot of money for college, you might as well take advantage of those opportunities.
Absolutely.
So my outgoing advice would be the same that I would give myself if I were a freshman again, would just be to carry yourself confidently. We were all in high school at one point, so I know the drama consumes you, but I promise, like Christian said, it is not the same at all. I have grown so much as a person since high school. It's like completely unbelievable. I've learned so much more about myself and what I want for myself and what I want out of life. And, learn more about my capabilities and my limitations. Like, you just learn so much more about yourself in college. And like I said before, like, don't let anyone dissuade you from making a decision. You always come first. Your happiness comes first, right? Nobody's living your life for you. So whatever you do, be confident, knowing that, you know what, this is for me. This is not for anybody else. And in the long run, this is going to be a great decision that I made.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Guys, that was awesome stuff. You guys are great at doing this. Really want to thank you guys for taking the time out of your day and sharing with our students, and hopefully being able to reflect on some of your experiences as well that you probably haven't thought about in a long time. But you guys were excellent, gave some really good feedback. Thanks again. And we'll have some more of these panels up for your viewing. They're under our SBHS Alumni College Panel discussion page. I want to wish you guys the best in the rest of your college experience, if you have a lot left. And more importantly, your journey to finding a career and a job in the near future. So thanks a lot and stay safe.